tonight, well, I just want to again welcome you on behalf of the Tarpon Springs Area Historical Society. I'm incognito, happy wife, happy life, with a mustache. Anyway, that's my wife's idea, not mine. But anyhow, yeah, so I'm Ed Hoffman, and tonight we have some wonderful guests. But before I get to introducing them, I want to also mention Carrie and her staff from the library. This is their major sponsor in making this happen. That's wonderful. And then also Dr. Rod Davis with the St. Pete College. He's our provost. And his son, Mort, is here with him tonight to make sure his dad stays in line. And then we have Andrew, who's working with the college, and he's, as our third time here, he is working to make all of this happen in terms of recording it. When we first started this, it's really the main issue that we were trying to deal with is that we wanted to record stories of Tarpon Springs. And so things that aren't in the history books yet, but maybe should be, and we wanted to document and record those. So Mike Bilirakis was part of that genesis, and unfortunately he's not able to be here tonight. But anyway, I also want to introduce another. We do have a dignitary. I think our biggest political dignitary is Commissioner Kitka there in the back row in the chief seats. We have to be really nice to her because we want her to, send all kinds of money to the library and a bigger room and a bigger sound system. So anyway, we have three, for our Tales of Tarpon, this time we have three wonderful contestants. and I'll introduce first, we have a rose between the thorns here.
If you only knew.
Yeah. Well, we have some people here. But anyway, we talked about having, again, recording. That was the primary mission. And then it became, well, let's do something for our members of the of our group, of the society, and members of the library, and that, as a perk for them. And so that's a way of bringing us together. But one thing, and that's the second thing that we do, is we have y'all kind of participate in this. But the third thing that really never occurred to me until funny tonight, that how much love is in the room between so many people here. And so we're really happy about that. I didn't really think about that being a thing, you think, well, let's bring the members together. But you forget about the caring and sharing and the friendships that are between so many of you. And those of you that don't know everybody, go ahead and get to know everybody when we break. Let's see, the other thing, back to between the rows, getting back to the rows. I can't see very well because I have a little bit of her makeup on my glasses already. Barbara's not here, so I could talk. Y'all don't tell anybody. Anita smells particularly good tonight. So it is the rose. I don't know about Sherry or Al. But anyhow, so what we're going to do, so this is Nina Asamak, who's here in the center. Then we have Al Quarterman here, and then we have Jerry Hurtis. So the three of them are our contestants going for the big prize. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to start out, they will talk a little bit about themselves, and then start talking, about their background, where they, where you were born, where you came from, and then talk a little bit about some of the fun things that happen or interesting things that happen to you in your life here in Tarpon Springs. And then a conversation between the three of you, and if Jerry says something that reminds you, oh yeah, I forgot, blah, 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 and you all can start talking about that. And so what we really want to do, from my view, is have a conversation between the three of you. And that we are not necessarily here except to just eavesdrop on your conversation, okay? But we also have people here that have come specifically to try to keep you straight and try to defend themselves. You know, I know Mary is here. I saw Mary Burris. Where's Mary? Yeah, Mary's here. She's here to defend herself, so Nina doesn't, you know, and enjoy. Your brother, I think, is here. And you just, you know, so you gotta have people keeping you straight. So you gotta be a little careful. I told Jerry, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. But I think it's gonna be interesting tonight. So I'll probably have to constantly remind you to hold the mic and talk into it. Nobody wanted to go first, except nobody put up quite as much opposition, so we're going to let Jerry start out here. And because Al said, no, he didn't want to go first. Nina said she didn't want to go first, even though I was expecting ladies first. But anyway, so.
Quarterman doesn't want to go first.
He doesn't want to go first, so that leaves you. You're the third. So, all right, so with that, I'm going to shut up, get out of the way.
You want me to go first?
And I might have to come up and
I'll go
remind you all to
first.
talk into the mic.
Rose is
I'll
going
go
to go
first.
first.
Can everybody hear all right? Can we hear all right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully that'll continue to be the case. Oh, is Nina going to come? Okay.
I'll go first. Jerry doesn't want to go first.
All right.
Mr. Quarterman doesn't want to. I'll take the reins.
Okay, and you can use this mic yourself. Yay!
Well, you know that my name is Nina Asimak, and I don't think a lot of you know that I'm not a Floridian. I was born in Pennsylvania. But I wish I could say that I call myself a native Floridian. I came when I was 3. So I'm 84 years old, so that gives me credence there. We lived in Alderman Heights, and you probably don't even know where that is. It's where Ballyhoo's is. In the back, there used to be some homes, and it was all nothing but sand. And I remember playing, I don't even know what they called it, where my uncles would put us on the shoulders, and you'd try to push the other one back, and you'd fall back in the sand. Well, that was our entertainment. And Mr. Alderman had a whole row of Pontiacs that were facing North Pinellas, where Mr. Souvlaki is now. All that was all a display of cars, and we'd walk by there every time we went to school or to the movies or wherever we went. You'd walk by the cars and pick which one you wanted when you grow up. I'm the oldest of 3. You may remember my brother was George Saris. He was a mayor several years ago. He passed away in 2006. I have a younger sister that's good friends with Sharon Sawyer over there, same age group.
Me too.
And Jerry, right. When I was young, my mother would allow me to go play with Mary Burris. That was 2 blocks down. But she said, when you come back, these 3 flowers better be embroidered. So I'd go down and embroidery, and Mary Burris would be playing. And give her mother a fit, because her mother would tell her, come on in. She never wanted to come in. Never. And I just admired her because she could negotiate with her mother. I could not negotiate with mine. My mother took no prisoners. In fact, when we went to school, it was A's or nothing. She was pretty strict. High school was a lot, I don't know if you all remember where, I had many pictures, but I'm sorry, we had a fire and a flood at my home years ago. Oh, where is it? I had a picture of the elementary school that was now, I don't have it now, I'll be darned. Sorry, but my elementary school was 1st grade through 6th. And it was where the Greek Hall is now on North Pinellas, the new one, the real big one. That was our elementary school, went 1 through 6. Carrie V. Lee was the principal. And then when you went to high school, it was 7 through 12. We did not have a middle school. And our high school was where the city hall is now, where you go to pay your water bill. That was it. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Very busy during high school. I was editor of The Splash, the newspaper. I don't even know if they still have it. They do?
Not the splash.
Not The Splash, but, oh, The Seraph. That's right, The Seraph. I told my mother, I said, at the time Mr. Glenn was our principal, I said, he asked me to be a cheerleader. May I be a cheerleader? She said, is Mr. Glenn going to come home and start our supper? So I was not a cheerleader. Mr. Glenn did not want to cook. We strived in high school. My mother was very strict about grades. I forgot to mention that as we were growing up, we also had to attend Greek school in the afternoon, 5 days a week. So from 3 to 5, you were at Greek school every day, from first grade till sixth. First and third went right after American school, and then 4th through 6th went later. And when we had a teacher, his name was George Francis. He was also the principal. And he actually taught us stories by Edgar Allan Poe in Greek school. He was very, very interesting, and it was not off the wall, but something that you would not expect, to learn in Greek school. Of course, we had to learn all the patriotic songs and everything. And then on Sunday, you had to go to Sunday school and then march to church. That was our routine all the time. The good thing about of course I would enjoy it. I was one of the homecoming queens. And that year they had 3 of them. It was Joe White Cortezes, and Evelyn Malamatas Hulas, and myself. And we were on a float, and then got to wear suits during the game. It was fun. When I finished high school, my home ec teacher was bound and determined to get me to college. Well, we could not afford for me to go to college, so she got me a job before I even went. And my mother was able to send me $5 a week at school. I went to Florida State University. Well, the job that she got me was working in the cafeteria, and I had to wear a hairnet, which I did not like, because we fed the football team in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, now, how sexy do you look with a hairnet? And the best part, wait a minute, you know who were the football players? Burt Reynolds. That's right, he was in my class. And Lee Corso, and if you ever watch Saturday morning football, you see Lee Corso every morning. He's the one that changes hats all the time. It's cute. He was a quarterback. I worked in the summers. I started with the city recreation, and then I worked, when I went to college, I would come home for the summer and work at Anclote Manor. If you remember, that was a private psychiatric hospital. I got beat up the first week I was there. I really got it bad, yeah. But I knew that I had to go back, and let her know that I wasn't afraid of her, but I was. But anyway. Then after I graduated from Florida State, I did make the dean's list, so my mother was pleased. I had to keep her happy. My last year, when I graduated, I got a job in Ozona. That was my first teaching job. And at the time, Ozona was only 2 grades, first and second. And the principal had the 2nd grade, and she gave me the other 2nd grade. There were 2 of each. There were also 2 of each when I went to elementary school. There was a 1A and a 1B and a 2B, 2A and a 2B, and you better be in the A1, or your mother will get you. So I taught 2nd grade, and it didn't dawn on me right away when when the principal had, I noticed her kids they were dressed a lot nicer than my kids. You know, my poor kids were the orange pickers. But that's okay, they were neat little kids and we had a good time for my first year. I taught them how to Greek dance. And we had a good time learning that. And then after I taught a year, I got a cablegram from my boyfriend who was in Germany, and it was Tommy Asimak. And it said, prepare for wedding will arrive in 10 days. Well, you don't prepare for a Greek wedding in 10 days. It's impossible. I was so excited, I can't tell y'all. I was going to go to Germany. It didn't matter that I was getting married or that I was leaving my job. I was going to Germany. And my father's telling me, you are not going to Germany. I said, please go to the bank and get my birth certificate, because my mother had it in the box. And he says, no, you're not. I said, Daddy, please take me to the bank and get, no, he would not. He never did. My mother finally had to take off and take me to go get my birth certificate so I could go to Germany. We went to Germany for a year, and I had to leave Germany early. I think Tommy was a 2-year person, and he was supposed to stay till July, and the wives had to leave in May because there was some rumbles there at the Russian border, so I had to come home. Came home, and I had, I didn't know I was pregnant when I came home, so we had Basil Asimak, he's my oldest, and he's now 58 years old, and I think most of you have heard of Peter that passed away. The fishing tournament is named after him, that his friends had put on for 21 years, and now Rotary has taken over. And the positive about that is that 8 scholarships are given to 8 seniors every year at Tarpon High School. And those kids come back and talk to Rotary or whoever and let them know how they have fared. And it makes you very proud, you know, that you've helped a young kid go to school if that was the only way he could go. It did me anyway. I remember growing up when we would play kick the can, Red Rover, those kinds of games. I remember the black curtains because we had blackouts. There would be a siren at night, and you'd have to either turn off your lights or put your black curtains down, because I don't know if there were enemy airplanes up there or submarines out here. I don't know, but I know that we had to take certain precautions when we were growing up at that time. And then we also had a vegetable truck that would come by the neighborhoods in the mornings. And you'd go out and meet the vegetable truck with your neighbor and pick whatever lettuce you wanted or tomatoes or whatever. You didn't have to go to the store. I remember my uncle also taking me to Sisler Field. I think that was the only football field at the time until we built ours at the high school. That was a lot of fun. Wall Springs was open. If you remember Wall Springs, we had to go there for life-saving lessons. And we had to learn how to go in with our shoes, our clothing and everything, and then remove all that and go save someone. We were taught anyway. When I was, my whole life I was in the Greek Orthodox choir. I still am. And nobody takes my seat. The Beneath the 12-Mile Reef was filmed, yes. And our choir sang in it. And I think we were paid $7 a day. I can't remember. I think it was $7 a day. And what was his name? It was Terry Moore and Robert Wagner. Yeah. He dove at the docks. That's where he got the cross. Do you remember the Iceman delivering ice? Yeah. I do too, because in the back, when he'd come, he'd always sprinkle some ice water on your back Because we were usually in a tub of water, because it was hot in the summer when he was delivering the ice in big blocks. And then we'd jump on the back of the truck if we could get away with it. I would remember also coming home from Greek school one afternoon late, because I was in the 6th grade at that time. And it was the cars were blowing, going up and down the highway in North Pinellas, and blowing and blowing and blowing. And we found out that was the end of the war. The war had ended, and the cars were celebrating by blowing their horns. I know a lot of you went scalloping at the pier. I did. We'd usually fry the scallops, bring them home. We would take tubs from People's Hardware. We'd buy those big old tubs that we would later on would sit in water. The kids would. That was our swimming pool. And we had individual pools at home. Each one of us had a tub. And we'd go scalloping at pier. And I remember once during a hurricane, there was no water out there. The hurricane had pulled all the water out. You could not see any water. All you saw was sand. It was a little, scary to see it like that. We also, the City Hall on North Pinellas, you had diagonal parking. You didn't, it was not parallel parking like we have now. And we had to go there for our driver's license, to get our driver's license in the afternoon. And I went with my neighbor, and we told, I think we went when we weren't supposed to go. Because we told Mr. Moon, the teacher, we're here to take our driver's license, our driver's test. Wanted to know who our teacher was. We told him. I went first, and I took the test. I passed. Well, my neighbor went next. She passed, but when she pulled up in the diagonal parking, she hit the meter. And then the light pole fell on top of the car. Guess what? We abandoned the car and ran home. Just left her. To heck with that. I don't know how it was reported to our teacher. I don't know, but we didn't tell him anything. For sure.
What about the car?
I don't remember what happened to the car. That's good about our brains, when it's not something you don't want to remember, you don't.
It belongs to Schlegel Motors anyway.
What? Yeah, it belonged to Schlegel Motors, that's right. It wasn't ours. Schlegel donated it to the school. That's true. We didn't tell Mr. Schlegel either. I also remember, am I taking too much time?
No. Keep going.
Jerry says no, keep going.
Good.
Well, if we divide it in thirds.
No.
But yeah, so we can go ahead and
No,
let the others talk. And
That's
then
fine.
we
I can pick it up later, don't worry, I won't forget. Look at these two gentlemen, neither one of them wants.
It's amazing how much we have in common. Jerry Curtis, I was born and raised in Tarpon. My father was an illegal. He came in from Cuba, from Greece to Cuba. He didn't come in at Ellis Island. My mother was born here, but he got his papers. My history very coincides with hers, basically. I went to the same schools, grammar school, same high school, same number of students. What else was there?
You played
Went
football, I didn't.
Yeah.
My mother wouldn't let me.
We were brought up, my father was a sponge diver. My grandfather was a sponge diver who had several boats. And the thing I remember the most was he never wanted us to go on the boats, me or my brother or any of us. it was no good. The work was too hard. They would go out for weeks, sometimes months at a time. 6 guys living on a 40-foot boat was no fun. So they encouraged everybody to go to college or go find a job. So most of us became teachers, like I did and Nina, pharmacists, doctors, dentists, etc. So we thank them for that because it made our life a little bit easier. I taught for 34 years, and I look around here and I see a lot of my former students.
Raise your hand.
Oh my gosh.
And then I look around here and I see a lot of my classmates. They're trying to hide their age, but they're all here, right here. And then, of course, Dudley got me into this thing, so I owe him a special one. And Jody's back there. And Jody surprises me. I figured he'd be in prison by now. I figured he'd be in prison.
Wait till I get up here and tell some stories.
And I don't want him to lose his job, but he's the provost of St. Petersburg's College. But he was one of mine, and he was something special. He did well. Like Nina, like I said, I went to FSU too. I graduated from FSU. I met my wife there on a blind date 55 years ago. And we got married. Like Nina, I was not the homecoming queen. But I love Tarpon Springs. It's a great town. It's getting a little too big, a little too busy. I remember it the way it was. Like she said, all the things that she did, the ice trucks, the grocery carts, the get-togethers. When we got married at the Ophiolopticals Hall. And I have to say this, my wife's a little bit country. She's from Ocala. And to this day, when you see people from Ocala who came to that wedding reception, they never stopped talking about it. My father had a fifth on every table.
Oh my.
The beer was like water. My mother and my aunt, my grandmother, cooked for days. We had a couple of 300-400 people there. Easy. It was one of a kind. And of course, we did the same thing for our children. We have four children, 3 daughters and a boy, 9 grandchildren. My mother went to Tarpon High. I went. My kids, and now my grandchildren know I go to Tarpon High. So it's quite a place. And I'm glad to see all you people made this your home. I even had Mr. Jackson's nephew in class. This young gentleman over here, we used to work together in a restaurant. Yeah. So we got around. Okay, I'm going to stop right there and let you go, Mr.
It's recording. He's got it.
First off, I would like to say good afternoon to all of you. I'm here today, and I feel good about being here because I was asked to do something specific. Being Black History Month, I will tell you specifics. I was born here in Tarpon Springs, September 25, 1929. So you see, I'm a young person.
1929.
1929. Born right here in Tarpon Springs, and I remember a lot of things that went on. I'm going to start off talking about Tarpon Springs. How many of you remember when there were 2 barbershops on? Two barbershops, yes.
Yeah.
On Barnellos Avenue?
Yeah, Greens and
How about 2 pharmacies?
Baynard's.
Baynard's and who else?
Rexall.
Oh, Rexall?
Yeah, Baynard's.
And Banner. How about barbershops? I said barbershops, didn't I? All right, you had 2 barbershops, you had 2 pharmacies, and the fun thing is 2 theaters.
Tarpon and
Now,
Arroyo.
theaters was very interesting because in the theaters they had what is known as a balcony. And since I'm going to get into black history, I'm going to tell you the truth. Why would you put someone above you that you disagree?
Good point, good point.
You know, it's an unusual thing because I know that if I had a disagreement with someone, I don't want them standing over me. Because things do happen. But in the barbershop as a young man, I was a shoe shine guy. And one of the barbers. And I did pretty good because Tarpon Springs was very prosperous. They had a lot of people that had a lot of money that found their way to Tarpon Springs, and they didn't mind spending it. And I was out to do anything possible to make a dollar. I always wanted to be independent. Because I didn't want anybody coming up later on and say, remember what I did for you. In this case, I said, you did absolutely nothing because I walked around with holes in the bottom of my shoe with cardboard in the hole. And that was the thing that I enjoyed very much about Tarpon Springs. Because if there was a job, there were jobs for everyone. I think I did a little bit of everything. I tried picking fruit, but the bag was too long for me, and the ladder was too heavy. So I had to give that up. I graduated from Union Academy. At that time, I heard them speak about schools, but in Tarpon Springs, the schooling only went for blacks for 8th grade. In order to go beyond 8th grade, you had to leave. So what I did, I went to Clearwater
That's right.
to go to school just to finish high school. I never rode a bus. In New York, they call them the cheese wagons. And nobody wanted to be seen getting off a bus, so they would always ask the operator if they let them off at least a block away from where they were going to school. But we didn't suffer that here. I went to school in Clearwater, and I worked at McCory's 5 and Dime in order to pay my own way. I paid my own room and board, and that was something.
They can't hear you. Can you talk again?
Yeah, sorry, you missed that. Well, anyways, like I said, I worked for McCory's 5 and Dime, and that's how I made my money for my own expense. I would save my money and come up, and E Tarpon Ave at that time, they had a lot of clothing, and that's where I used to buy my clothing from. I used to take the train from Clearwater on Saturday afternoon after McCory's closed, and I'd come home to spend the night and the day with my mother. So that railroad that you see out there was very comical to me when they opened it up as a historical site. Because how many of you have been in the depot? This is what I'm speaking about. You know the door that you go in now, that was the only door blacks had to go and buy a ticket at. You bought a ticket there, and I used to buy my ticket, leave work from McCory's to come to Tarpon Springs. And then on Sundays, I would take the train back to Clearwater so I could be in school on Monday. Well, my mother wasn't there, but believe me, she had instilled in me discipline. I was scared to death of her.
She must have known my mother.
What would happen when I did something wrong, you know, I had to go out and find a switch. I would call it a switch, but I tried to find the smallest thing I could. And then when she was giving me punishment licks, she was crying as like I was, and I didn't know what's going on. Why is she crying? I'm the one being beat up here. But that's how they raised kids then. I could bring nothing in my house that I couldn't account for. If I brought something in there that my mother didn't buy, I know that I was buying, I had to take it back, and she would go back with me to make sure that it got where it belonged. Nowadays, everybody talk about going to someone else. If I thought about going to someone else with my mother's house, boy, I would be in some trouble. Because what grown up said during that period of time, that was low. And she meant it. And it was good for me. And now since this is Black History, I'm gonna give you a little more on that. as far as Tarpon Springs is concerned, there are other things that happened in there, but I did have a good life. Because it was predominantly Greek, and they had a different view, simply because the work was on a sponge boat. And as the person just mentioned, when you're out on a sponge boat for 3 weeks or a month or so, my father and my uncle both spoke fluent Greek. And I can imagine they had to, because if I was on a boat for 3 weeks with somebody and he was speaking something I didn't know, I would be scared. Just imagine you being on a boat and then they are speaking their lingo and you don't understand what they're saying. So I had a few words, but there were no good words, all bad words. So I would leave that alone. But after graduation, oh, there's one other thing that happened there too. In '41, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, everybody was running home to hide. You see, what it was in history, we didn't know anything about Pearl Harbor, but we all knew what Palm Harbor was. So when they said they bombed Pearl Harbor, we had to go somewhere to hide. We sure it would be next. But those are some of the things that happened around that you'd be interested in. There was another thing happened up at the Gulf Coast. They had a place called the Blue Sank Hole. I don't know, maybe some of you have been up there. We deputies kids used to go and swim, and nobody never found the bottom of that thing.
Yeah, that was here.
But there were people who would swim across it, not me. I would swing out on the tide, and when I hit the water, I was already facing back to land. I didn't want to get caught nowhere where there was no bottom, nobody could find the bottom. But those are things that we did here, and we enjoyed every bit of it. It was nice. After graduating from Clearwater High, I went to New York with my father. This was in 1947, and incidentally, all of my classmates, when I retired, we would all get together at someone's house there, and we would reminisce, talk about the advancement, achievements, what you're doing with your life. When I went to New York, I had a variety of jobs, little menial jobs that I had. And I worked at something they called automat. Any of you ever been to New York, they had what they call the automat. It was a machine that you put your money in, and you got a door where you're taking the stuff out. And I worked with that for a while because it had free food. And naturally, since I was putting it out in these things, that was something good for me. This happened to me in 1943 when I left Tarpon High. They didn't call it Tarpon High, they just called it Union Academy because it wasn't high. But I went to New York, worked in automatics, worked in Prevail, photo photography, and the darkroom technician was what they called me, was being in developing film, that's what it was. But I stayed there for a year, and then I went into the war. I enlisted for the Army, and after basic training in Fort Dix, I was transferred to what is known as Camp Kilmer, New Jersey. And I was put into a special outfit called SCAWA, a special category Army with Air Force and 1st Marine Division. The next thing I know, I was being shipped to Guam. Guam was really an isolated issue. Remember, during this period of time, I was in a segregated military. The military was not put together until Harry Truman came in and fired MacArthur, and that's when we became integrated. So you can imagine that I was fighting someone that I've never seen before because I was told that that was the enemy. But when I had a face-to-face with a Korean or South Korean, there's no difference between a South Korean and a North Korean. Because they all one unit, one family. They looked at me surprisingly, and I looked at them surprisingly because we never seen each other before. And the amazing thing about it, those people could run in and out of a Squanset hut, drop their shoes, and never stop. Can you imagine there are about 8 to 10 pair of shoes laying down in front? They would come out and slip their foot in and they keep going. How in the world would they know what size or whose foot shoes? I never could figure that out. But what had happened in there, in the war in Korea, I tell you, before we got there, we left Guam when the war broke out in Korea, and we had to go to Japan for training. And all they did is teach you how to kill. They call it defending yourself. And so I figured that I'm not gonna have any fun. One of the things that happened, they told us that a lot of us going into Korea would not be coming back. Well, as a young man, I figured if somebody gonna kill me, I wanna have a little fun. So I went AWOL. Can you imagine someone going AWOL in Japan? But I did, and I got off the base by sitting in the Jeep with the commander. He saluted, I saluted, and we went out the gate. I went to the train station, and you know what? Well, I wasn't alone. I had a buddy. He would do everything. The two of us was real devils. So we wanted to know which way was Yokohama with the train, and had the nerve to get on the train and go to Yokohama. And when we got to Yokohama, they had what is known as a rickshaw. Some of you probably know what a rickshaw is. It's a covered little, I don't know what you would call it, a little two-wheeled something that you sit in there, and this person will pull you around or push you around. I couldn't stand that. I couldn't like the idea of a human being pulling me around on a cart. But that was their living, and that's their custom. So anyway, we didn't know that we were supposed to be going into combat at that time. All we knew, we were supposed to go somewhere. But we got hungry, and when you get hungry, you have to come out. And the only thing I would trust was they had chicken in a canvas cover there. And we went out to get this, and the MVs picked us up, put us on Lykes Brothers' ship. Now, a lot of you probably heard of Lykes Brothers. Lykes Brothers was a place here in Tarpon Springs.
Big freighter.
They were a meat supply, and they had ships. And we were picked up and put on the ship, and the next thing we know, the following morning, they pulled up the gangplank and away we went. And didn't know that we were going into the invasion of Incheon. But what happened when we got there, the ships was out there with these big battleships. They were bombing these islands, and they were using airplanes dropping napalm bombs. And to us, it looked like, hey, this is the movie. It was fascinating until it was our time to get off. You've seen pictures of that, where the people disembark on these rafts and they put ashore. Well, the first Marine was the first ones they put in there, and I think that they put those people in there not expecting them to put so many. It's like a slaughter, really. I'm telling you about war and how terrible it is. But we had to go when they called us to leave, and we had to hit the beach. And I tell you, it was a horrible thing because I got on the beach and I was really like a mole trying to grab myself a hold. And I started praying, if I get hit, I want to be hitting the shoulder, I want to be hitting the leg, no place in here, anything, because I figured I must be going to be part of this with so many other people gone. And once the ships left, the battleships and all went away. We were left there on the beach. The object was to invade Incheon and to capture the air base. Our job was to put in new air base runways for the planes to come in, because the Koreans, all they had was little Piper clubs. It sounded like a little sewing machine running around. You figure, how are they going to do battle with those things? But there, my time ran out. But since I was in battle, they had to re-enlist me in the field. So I have 2 discharges, one for the first phase and one for the second phase. And a lot of people ask, well, what kind of outfit were you in? I said, Skywarrior. It was a special category that we didn't need to go to the commander and ask to leave the base. If we had no assignments, we could go anytime. That was a good part about it. But when I got back here, less than a month in California, I became extremely ill. And I was rushed to the hospital. I remember when they called the nurse in to take my temperature, the nurse looked at the temperature, turned her back, and the expression on her face told me that something is not right here. Well, I remember that they brought a wheelchair down, and that's the last thing I know until 15 days later. They had already called my family and told them that I had a 50-50 chance of survival. And what it was that I caught during that period of time there, they never did find out, neither did I. But all I know is that people that was coming visiting the hospital was stopping by and said, oh, praise the Lord, he's awake. And I'm thinking up there, well, what are these people that they're nuts? I just got here last night. But in reality, I had been out for 15 days and knew absolutely nothing. All I know is that I had grown a beard. And I was sitting up looking around because it seemed as though, what really happened to me? Then I came back here, and that goes another part of my life, with a lot of it probably had heard when you heard my name, Quarterman and Rose Cemetery. This is where I was. I started off in church when I came back. I wanted to do something for youth and young adults. But then I found out a lot of them didn't know how to say thank you, no thank you, good morning, good afternoon, yes, no. And I said, what am I doing here? I can't deal with these people. They don't even know how to say yes and no. And the parents weren't coming out to see what I was telling these kids, because if it was my child, I would want to go out and see, what is this man telling these kids? But they did not take any concern with that. And I said, well, I can't go along with a program that nobody wants to know what I'm trying to teach these kids. How to be courteous. How they can earn that $150 a week they were getting from McDonald's or parties or someplace like that. But my competition was with the people who was in the street who had $300 and $400 in their pocket. So that was good for those kids, and I'll tell them, that may be good money now, but it won't last long. Because surely you're going to run into some hardships. And don't tell me that you can't find jobs. There are plenty of jobs out there. It's what you want to do. Back in New York, garbage collectors, they wanted to change their name. See, they didn't want to be called garbage collectors. They wanted to be called community helpers. But that was a lot. And coming here, I was riding around looking, and I asked the Lord, what is it that you want me to do? Because I feel so useless. And the Lord told me to go out and start messing with the cemetery. Start doing things that would benefit the people in the community. We have a lot of veterans that never was honored right here in Tarpon Springs that did a lot of things. But those people who never heard of them don't know what it is that they did. Well, they served in the military the same as I did. They came back and they tried to make a good life. But here I was in Korea fighting an enemy who could come back here and have more privileges themselves than I had. So I want to know, well, who's the enemy I'm fighting here? Is it the one over there which I never seen before, or one here that I've seen all my life? And why would they have any objections against things that go on and you're only trying to help yourself? Well, anyway, working with the cemetery, I'm very proud to say, Phyllis, thank you very much. Phyllis and her sister drove to Tallahassee to see if we could get funding to help the project that we was working on. And I want to never always remember them for that, because that was something they didn't have to do. And also, Phyllis and her sister, they were very encouraging to me because they had me to join the Historical Society. You know what was strange? Here I am, a black, and I'm meeting with 13 women, all white. Now, you can remember back where that would never have happened. But I said, you know, I was just like one of the people on the board, doing whatever it is that they wanted. And it was a good show. Another person I was very happy with is Anita Produce. I don't know if you know Anita. You know, she was the mayor for how many years. But she was there. Chris was there. And he was there a lot of times. Not because it was a political thing that he was doing, but he was there because he felt good about being out there. And he would always bring water. Chris would come, but he would come with 24 bottles of water or something, and he would pitch in and help. So although Chris is not here, but I want to thank him for that too. Now I'm going to cut off because there's a whole lot of things going on. Incidentally, working with the cemetery, I was able to get the State Historical Society honors. That is all posted out there if any of you have ever been out there. The next thing we were able to get was on National Register. And that is there. So, Tarpon Springs, you're really noted for that site. I'm going to hold off because I'm talking a long time.
We have a few more minutes. Jerry, do you want to fill in now if
Fill
things
in?
come to you?
Well, no.
Okay. You can
Things
tell.
have changed. While I'm up here and looking at these kids that I had in school years ago, the things that we did to them, we wouldn't be able to do today. We'd be in prison. The way we talked and the way we got them to behave. You were talking about kids and how their attitudes, and well, back then you could do things if they got out of line. You could talk to them. I'm sure you all know Mickey Ford. Mickey Ford was a great basketball player for me. I used to coach. But Mickey had an attitude problem at one time. And he was good, but he came late to the game one day. And at Tarpon High, we had a locker room with a gate. He got in there, put on his jock strap. I got up, I locked the gate, went out to the game and left him. He was never late again. He was never late to a game again. I had taken over the PE class one time, and I couldn't get them to be quiet. I asked them, they couldn't get them quiet. So I went in and I got the track man's gun, you know, the track gun that they use? And I loaded it and I put it in my back pocket and I said, I'm going to take roll call now. And they looked at me and they wouldn't get quiet, and I took that gun, God forbid today, and I shot it 6 times in that locker room. Never had a problem taking roll. Never had a problem. But I'd still be in prison today, I'm sure. But then again, you know, they were good kids. They were all good kids. But like you said, on the boats, we had Possum Lee. I don't know if you remember Possum Lee. And Jesse and Alexander Small and all these guys. And Mr. Davis was the most impressive man to me because he spoke Greek better than the Greeks. He could speak Greek like you wouldn't believe. So it was, I grew up at a time when we were, as you said, you went to
Union Academy. Yeah.
But we all got along because we would meet after school and play on the playground. It was kind of a different community. We had no busing, if you recall. All the kids went to school here at Tarpon. It was quite a different, unique thing. And we miss that. But they were all local kids. And everybody knew everybody. So when they got in trouble, they got in trouble. And Greek school was a different world altogether. I told Ted Franzese, principal's son, don't skip class. He jumped out the window. We had no screens on the windows. He jumped out the window and I heard, and when he came in, she had him by the ear. And he was on his knees. Her name was Pita, Mrs. Pita. And she had him on his knees with her ears turned and he was crying. I said, I told you not to try to skip. You better listen. Your turn.
Do you all remember what North Pinellas Avenue was called before it was North Pinellas? Eagle Street, that's right. It was Eagle Street. And my street was, I live on West Spruce Street. It used to be Gray Avenue. It went from avenue to a street, which I didn't think you could do that. I thought there was protocol that you had to follow. How many of you remember the doghouse?
I do.
That was this old Greek man named Rothio had a shed like, and it's where, what's the name of the gas station? Marathon? Okay, he had a little shed there, and he sold hot dogs all the time. And my brother used to work for him, and he was a very superstitious man, and you had to wear different colored socks if you worked for him. And I used to curse him out when I helped my mother with the wash machine because the socks never could match up because they were always different colors. You never got two the same color. How about, do you remember when the post office was in the arcade? Yes. Okay, so that's not too far, but I don't remember what year it went, but anyway. And the pier. Now Jerry said his wedding was at the Philoptomus Hall. Mine was at the pier. We had about 700 people. But in those days, you didn't serve food. It was whiskey or booze and sweets. And dance. You danced till to your heart's content. Yeah. The pier was Sunset Beach. Sunset Beach. It was a big wooden structure there. And when, we grew up going there, like we would, how about the jitneys? You remember the jitney? The Greek jitneys? We used to get, our family would get a watermelon and roll it down the aisle of the jitney inside. And my mother would have a pot of fila, those grape leaves, and a loaf of Greek bread. And we'd go spend the day at the pier. And if there was a baby in the family, I can remember my mother bringing a white sheet, and a rope, and she would fix it between the two trees. And I don't know how she did it, but that baby never fell out. Renee, it might have been you that we used to take out there. It very easily could have been at the pier. There were many weddings out there, many dances out there, and it was a large building. It was a wooden structure. It was wooden. Huh? I don't remember the bowling alley. Oh, right. Remember the city park by Baynard's? Yeah, there was benches there. And if we had a new outfit on, we'd parade back and forth, because everybody was there, especially on Saturday night. And, oh God. If I told my kids this, for graduation, my daddy took me to Baynard's and I got to get a sundae. If that's from high school, can you imagine explaining that to kids today? A sundae at Baynard's? And then you went home. And at Pappas Restaurant, the one down by the docks, the first one, had, then they expanded to the Blue Room. Remember that there was some extra property there, and they went to the Blue Room a little bit. And Wall Springs was part of our growing up also. And Fackless's, Tarpani's, those were all landmarks that we remember. Some are still here, some are not anymore, but we do remember them. The jitneys, Freddie, Eddie, the jitneys, I give a lot of, well, your wife's not here.
This guy is working.
Your wife's not here. The jitneys, I owe a lot to, because my daddy you always got a jitney at the end of the block. If you were in Greektown, that's where you went. Down one side of the block or the other side, because the jitney would make a circle through the docks and then come around up Hope Street. And my daddy would go down on Hope. We lived on Spruce on a big hill. Oh my God, I thought we lived on the Swiss Alps. It was so high, walking to school every day. And he'd tell me, yell for a jitney. Well, I taught myself to whistle. And you know how I whistle.
Let's hear it.
Come on, do it.
Put the mic down.
No. No. But I mean, it's so pleasant to reminisce. It's so nice to reminisce. Grandmothers took care of kids. Nobody thought anything. I mean, that's how it was. Your grandmother took care of you all the time. Or your aunts took you somewhere. I remember my mother, listen, as strict as she was, she saw to it that we saw things we should see. We took a bus to go to Gasparilla, believe it or not. And she packed a bunch of sandwiches, and off we went to Gasparilla on Monday morning or whenever they had it. I forgot to mention too that St. Pete, I taught a class there. Where the provost left? Oh, okay. But we also, Tarpon Springs also housed the only Greek bilingual program in the United States. And I was lucky enough to be the director of it. And our Tarpon was so receptive to it, and it was so successful. It was at Tarpon Elementary and Sunset Hills that we became a model program. So many people from all over the country would come to visit and observe our program that we had here for many, many years. And then I was lucky enough to be assistant principal at Tarpon Middle, and I really loved those kids. But I don't have to tell you what they did with my last name, because middle schoolers they had a ball with Asamak. I mean, every time classes changed, you always heard something. And I walked into the girls' bathroom one time, and there was a picture of a crone with a nose out to there, with warts all over, with hair on the warts, and a cigarette, of course. That was Mrs. Asamak, Oh my gosh. And then I was very lucky. I think I'm the only one in the world that got to be principal of the school that I attended, Tarpon Elementary. I'm so proud of that not many people can say that. Well, not many people can also say that a lot of you in here are still friends with the friends you grew up. You're still there together. And it's sad, but a lot of people can't say that. Many of us had to leave, come back, or some don't even come back. They just stay in the big city. But we are very fortunate that we can say that we're still with the people that we played with when we were little. You know what? Do have pictures. The only thing, we had a fire and a flood at my house. And the only thing that here's some couple report cards. One of them used to always say, Kathleen needs to not worry about her neighbors. Now that was a diplomatic teacher. Instead of saying she talks too much. She doesn't need to worry about her neighbors. But one year, I think it was Jimmy Carter was the president, and he invited, he wanted to honor the Archbishop of the Greek Orthodox Church in North America. And he had a big celebration for him at the White House. And several Greek Americans were invited to attend. Well, Tarpon Springs had a contingent, and my brother was a commissioner and asked me, do you want to go with me? It was a day trip. You left in the morning and you got back at night. And we went. And I do have pictures of that. Local Greeks attend White House celebration. And listen, there's a picture of me and Jimmy Carter right there. You have anything else to say?
That's just one other thing. Speaking about my life. In New York, there were jobs, but I decided I would take a job driving the bus. And people that knew me would have said, you mean you want that old man's job? And I said, yes, I want his old man's job. And I used to drive the bus, city bus in New York. And the most fascinating people for me was the elders, because I wanted everybody to get on the bus to sit right there, because they had a lot of experience that I wanted to know about. And I would question them because they had lived the life already. And I would say to them, like I was telling one of the participants that used to take the bus pretty often, on a Sunday morning, and I was telling him about I was disturbed about my living. And he said to me, he said, well, son, there's one thing you need to do. Search yourself first. And if you find that there's something that's being done that you haven't done, then think about it. And that reminded me, because I said, there are things that happen that. But then, driving the bus, promotions came up for dispatcher. People encouraged me to go for dispatcher, and I did that. Then after being with the dispatcher, another job come up and it went to manager. And I was always one seemed to be at the right place at the right time. But from there, manager, I was promoted to superintendent. Superintendent to director. And now this is going from someone who hardly knew anything, but I was always aggressive to try to find out things. And I retired in 1990, November 1990, as superintendent, full medical benefits, and my check has never failed to hit the bank. So I want to thank you for that.
Are there any questions? Should we ask if there's any questions?
Nina wants so badly for people to ask her questions.
I just are there questions?
Are there any particular questions before we wrap it up? I know so many of you would like to just stay all night, like me, but we probably need to give a break here soon. But do we have a particular question that's driving somebody crazy?
No, I guess not.
How to join the Historical Society.
Yeah, it's a great reason to join the Historical Society. I also want to make sure that Phyllis and Ramona and John and
Oh, there it
on the
is.
board members of
See,
the
there's the
museum
school.
that are here that helped set up all the food and along with the library staff. I guess Carrie's not here, but anyway, I want to thank them.
I think so.
And I really want to thank our contestants that did such a wonderful job. And made this a very, very special evening. Yes, Frank.
Jerry, is that Henry Davis Sr. that you're talking about?
Yes,
He lived up on Martin Luther King.
yes, yeah. Yeah, his son's is still there. He had a son that taught school too. He passed, but he's got several other children here. He was quite the speaker.
Mary, is there anything that you want to say to defend yourself from the accusations about you just goofing off? And your mother letting you do whatever you want while
She
doing
did, she did.
I just wanted to tell you about, when Nina said that she was, they lived down there where the sands were. When she came to visit at my house, she had to go through palmettos. All that land that's, except for the packing house that was next to Pappas', all that parking lot across the street from Pappas' was all palmettos. It was just, we had a little trail that we went through so that she could get to where my house was. But the reason her mother was strict with her, you can tell by all the things she did. And you didn't become homecoming queen because you were the best little girl.
Don't call on Mary Grace anymore. That's enough. That's enough.
That's enough.
That's the truth. No, that's the truth. It's true.
Well, my mother didn't have to do that. I was right there close to her. When she wanted me to do anything, I was right there.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, yeah, you did so much.
This is truly getting to be the tales of Tarpon.
That's good. Okay.
Anyway, Jared, do you want to say any? All right. Anyway, again, thank you all so much for making this happen. Thank you. We have kind of a record crowd. Maybe we'll have to open up the wall next time. Anyway, thank you so much.